The first finding and the recommendation of the Immigration Department that came out of this report was in relation to general employment policy applications and admission scheme for mainland talents and professionals applications. Now, what does that mean? What this means is that those people who are applying for employment visas, or they're Chinese nationals and they're applying for employment visas under a special program that's set up specifically for Chinese nationals. In essence, the Immigration Department were criticised because of the amount of time that it was taking for these applications to be processed. And the way this works is that government policy, or immigration policy, has always been that 90% of all applications for employment visas under these two types of programs should be finalised within 4 weeks of the submission of all the information. And essentially what that meant was that the target of the Immigration Department was such that only 10% of applications after they were submitted should be subject to a kind of a correspondence chain with the applicant, which then could conceptually take the application process further out than 4 weeks. And this came about because the Immigration Department down the years were extremely flexible. If you think about certain immigration jurisdictions, when you submit an application for a visa in Australia, for example, more often than not, the Immigration Department in Australia won't even take the application from you unless they can see at the point of submission all the documents that they need in order to give due and full consideration to the application are all there in one place. However, whilst that was the rule in Hong Kong, down the years, the Immigration Department, sort of being flexible as they were and are, they were getting to the point where the vast majority of cases, in fact 90% of cases, were not being finalised within 4 weeks, because they were flexible enough to receive an application that was only partially constituted. They would then receive it, add it to the Immigration Department system, issue a file reference number. It would then go out to an immigration officer who would work his way through the paperwork, expecting, of course, that everything was going to be there, found that not everything was there, and so then was forced to enter into correspondence with the applicant, seeking further and better particulars to bring about all of the information that they would need to give due and full consideration to the application. And the same actually applied under the admission scheme for mainland talents and professionals. So whether you're applying for an employment visa as a non-Chinese applicant, or you're applying for an employment visa as a Chinese applicant, in essence only 10% of applications were getting approved within 4 weeks because all their documents were there at the point of submission, and 90% of the applications were taking time to complete the correspondence before the Immigration Department had everything that they needed. So because of the amount of time that this invariably added to the policy diktat given 4 weeks, the Immigration Department were essentially told, no, this is not good enough. You now have to change the way that you operate. What this means for applicants is that now, when you file your application, you need to have almost everything in your application bundle for the Immigration Department to finalise your application within that 4-week time frame. So the challenge now is to make sure that you've got all your ducks lined up and you've got all the papers in your bundle so that the Immigration Department can give due and full consideration to the application within a 4-week time frame. So this was one big change that the Immigration Department have been subject to.